Aloha. Hey, it's Julie Ziemelis for 365 Hawaii and Real Broker. And today we will be talking about what's happening on Big Island of Hawaii in February. So we have got our wonderful round of realtors to help you understand what's happening in the different markets around the island, and also our mortgage expert. We got Joe. So around the corner here, let's talk about this. We've got Lance Owens with Louisville Real Estate. He'll be hitting West Hawaii. We've got Eric Ziemelis from West Hawaii, but he's going to be talking about more of like the trend stuff. We've got Jana Mahoney, who is going to be doing the resort areas in North Hawaii. We've got Amber Haley from Real. I'm sorry, Jana's with KW. And we've got Joe Egan, who is with Wynn and Eagan Team. And White, just right here in this little picture window, you guys got a ton of insight. So let's start with Amber down in the East Hawaii section and tell us a little bit about what's happening with the market there. Are you muted?
There we go. Can you hear me? Great. Okay. Hi, everybody. Coming to you from beautiful East Hawaii today. It is so sunny and gorgeous out. You wouldn't even believe it. Okay. So let's jump in and talk about what's going on in our two main districts where most of the real estate transactions take place. So I'm going to start with the Puna district and give you some of the stats from January of this year. Can't believe it's 2024. Okay. So our median value for a single family home is $347,500 in the Puna district of East Hawaii. So that includes lava zones 1, 2, and 3. So depending on the lava zone, the median value is going to differ a little bit. But that is what it is district wide. And that is some of the most affordable real estate that you're going to find in the state of Hawaii right now. There were 72 single family homes that sold in the Puna district. So that's a lot compared to some of the other parts of the island. So it's a really popular place for people to live. And if you are finding those home prices over on the Kona side or up on Kohala to be a little pricey, you might want to look in the Puna district. There's even some Lava Zone 3 property there. So list to sales price is a good thing to know. And 94.1% was the list to actual sales price for those homes. So this is the way Julie framed it last time we were together. It's a 6% sale apparently in East Hawaii. In
$30,000.
Yeah, we even tried to do the math really fast on that. So yep, that's what it is sitting at. And then let's talk about comparing that to the South Hilo district, where the price point is a bit higher than Puna. So that's 497,000 is the median price right now in South Hilo. And that's also sitting at 94%. So you got a 6% sale in South Hilo as well. Now there's only 16 single family homes that sold in Hilo in January. So less real estate transactions to base those stats off of, but overall we saw the median value of homes go up a little bit in Hilo from the month before and down a little bit from January of 2023. And then as far as Puna goes, they were actually down a little bit from the month before and then up a little bit from a year ago, where they were sitting at 325. So kind of interesting stats right there. The average days on market is, oh, I just lost that stat right here. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Days on market. Well, let me tell you a little bit about the market right now in one of our most popular neighborhoods, Hawaiian Paradise Park. So that is one that I like to bring up because it is where most of these real estate transactions that I talk about are coming from. So right now we have homes, just to give you guys an idea of where the prices are so variable, when we get that number from. The lowest listing right now in Hawaiian Paradise Park is only $139,000. And the highest listing right now is, let's see if this one is still on the market that I just pulled up, is over $2 million. So we have quite a range when we talk about those stats. So keep that in mind when I'm giving you the median. And our average days on market right now is about 55 days on market. So things are, we'll see what happens this year with buyers jumping in, with interest rates and all of that. But those are your stats for East Hawaii.
There you go. Hey, and also Amber, can you tell us in terms of like the phone ringing, what do you see in terms of like interest as we've turned the corner over to 2024? Are you seeing more people trying to buy houses now, or you think they're holding back right now?
I'm getting a lot of buyers right now compared to people wanting to sell. I do have some cash buyers, but the vast majority of my clients do need a mortgage.
Mhm.
And so, those rates are really, I think people who have been kind of holding out a little bit are jumping in now. And I think we're going to probably see that continue,
Mhm.
as we might see some rate drops. There's people with different predictions.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
read like so many
Let's
different
hear Joe.
predictions just this week. But yeah, I'm excited to hear the mortgage update. But yeah,
Okay.
no, there are people jumping in.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So then let's go up to Janet. Do you want to talk about a little bit about what's happening? Talk about night and day in terms of pricing.
I know we
Why
started
don't you-
off a little
yeah.
low,
Why don't
so
you shock us
Okay.
with?
Okay, I could do that. In Waikoloa Village in Montalani, right now, residential properties, there are 29 in Waikoloa Village. They go from 685, which is a fixer upper for, a residential home, to 1,922,800, which is new construction. And 6 of the 35 are in Montalani. They go from 4,350,000 to 8,900,000. So it is kind of different. Average days on market is 119.
Do you have
Let's
a list
see.
of sale price on that? Is there a sale going on up there? No.
Well, actually, I can tell you this. You were talking about having the percentage or what percentage seller was. Only 4 sold in January
Mhm.
in the Waikoloa Village of Montalani for residential homes, single family homes. And the average sale price was 989, 225, and average days on market was 67. And the sale to the original price was 95.2.
Ah,
So a little bit on sale. I think sometimes sellers are having a little bit of trouble adjusting. They think this is still
2022.
rampant pricing. Yeah. And so, some of the prices are starting off a little high when they're first listed, but I'm seeing a lot of price reductions right now. And when things are reduced to the right price, they sell.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Price improvements, they call them.
Right. So same area, Waikoloa Village and Montalani condominiums, there are 21 active right now, from 429 to 695 in Waikoloa Village, and 1,545,000 to 3,995,000 in Montalani. Average days on market is 91. It was 76 last month. So days on market is going up.
Mhm.
We sold 5 in January with an average days on market of 51 and a sale to original price of 98.8. So pretty close. They're not as much on sale, the condos, as the residential, right? In the Waikoloa Resort, residential, of course, is Puako, my favorite, always. 2 active listings, 4,500,000 and 9,965,000. 1 sold in January for 5 million. Condos there, 15. There are 15 active listings in the Waikoloa Resort right now, from 1,000,001 to 3,795,000. 6 sold in January, from 769 to 1,875,000. Average days on market was 10 days. That's fast. That's fast, y'all.
That's great. Yeah.
And the sale to original price was 100%.
Of course,
So
because
again, I think this hammers back to the ones that are selling quickly, and they're selling for close to list, right?
right.
The
That means that
ones
they were
that are
priced correctly and they're good houses, right?
exactly, the ones that are kind of over the probably where they should be to start out with are sitting a lot longer. Because like I said, those are sitting at 86 days on market right now for the active listings, but the ones that sold were 10.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty interesting statistic.
Mhm.
Real quick, Mauna Kea, residential, there's 6 listings, 2 in Mauna Kea, 4 in Waimea. So they're kind of the same thing in the same TMK. Average days on market are 106. Those range from 5,349,000 to 40 million.
40
average day-
million.
Yeah.
40.
Yeah, check that listing out. It's pretty impressive. It's pretty
Wow.
impressive. We need to have a 365 things to do in Kohala. Visit out there,
Yeah,
right?
I'd love to see
Check out-
that house. I'd like to sell that house. If you're watching this
Right.
on YouTube, I want to sell that kind of house.
We can help.
Yeah.
In January, just one sold, and it was for 6,750,000. Condominiums, there were six, 1,899,000 to 4,810,000. Nothing sold in January. In Hapuna Beach, Hapuna Beach residences, those condos, there are 7 of those listings right now. They range from 2,575,000 to 7,995,000. And the average days on market's 142. None sold last month. So
Okay.
of course, my last page.
It seems like seems kind of just, and what I'm feeling in terms of how many phone calls I'm getting when I'm seeing, it seems January has been like people are holding off. And if they're not holding off, they're finding exactly what they want. They go and get it, and they get it off the market in 5 days. So that's why it'll be interesting to hear what Lance has to say, because whatever else is happening in West White, let's see if that's backing that up. Thanks, Gianna, and we'll yeah, thank you. It's interesting because we have somebody trying to buy a house in Waimea, and nothing is coming on the market in the entire town. So something's
It's
going on,
crazy.
Yeah. So Lance, what's going on in West White?
Well, I got to ask real quick, what price point are your clients looking at in Waimea?
$1 million.
Okay. I don't have anything coming up.
I think the price for the house in Waimea must be 1.3.
If you double that, we've got something really nice coming up. And
Double
that's all
that, okay.
So it's like, real quick. So Julie sent me off on a tangent again today. This happens every time we talk. And we got into this discussion. Were you at Caravan this morning? Did you see all those price improvements? And I'm like, yeah, I saw them. I said, it's like, it did seem like a lot today. There was a few. So I went and I actually found a way to actually look at everything since the first of the month. How many price reductions has there been on residential homes? There's been 21 price reductions on homes in Kailua. And I jumped over to condos to see how many price reductions. There was actually 14 price reductions on condos and 2 price improvements that went up in price. So
Went
that
up in
was
price.
went up in price on 2 of them.
I'm
So
not selling my house. I'll just make the price go higher.
yeah, I'll just raise the
Okay.
price and see what happens. So interestingly enough, the 2 condos that we put out this month, kind of like somebody had said earlier, is if you look at if they're priced right and they're unique or something's different about them, they're gone fast. We had multiple offers on that Kanaloa that's oceanfront. And then we had the really affordable one that's in Kalani Kai, and we had an offer, and we had other people writing offers, and our client accepted it beforehand. So both of those moved very, very quick because they were unique or priced properly. So that's the interesting thing. So I wasn't able to go back and look at how many price reductions there were without looking at every single listing that was out there last year. I can't just run that number like I can in current stuff. But I did look to see, well, what was the closing ratio, right? So the closing ratio on the homes were 96.4% to original list price in 2023. And so far for the 15 days this month, they're at 97%, 97.6%. So there's less, they're closing closer to it. So I wouldn't put a lot of thought into those 21 price reduction. Okay.
Yeah, but get this. Wouldn't you say that those are finally selling for wherever the 97% after they might have already reduced the price? Is there
I'm doing the original price to the original
price
price.
list. Okay, so you're saying 90.
Okay, price to sell. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and we've had this discussion for a year, and so
Housing prices aren't crashing. Damn it!
it's not a new conversation we've had, but I finally found a way to say, look, let's look at that. So I thought that was interesting. So on the market right now for homes, this is the 3rd month in a row we've had over 100 homes on the market.
Which is a lot for like the last couple months. Yeah. For years.
Yeah. So we should have 150, 160 homes on the market. We're up to 108, which is good. It's making our absorption rate a lot closer. I think we're at about 33%, where 15 to 20 is a good fair market. And then on condos, we got 78 available, and we should be up about 130. So, so we are still shy. Of course, sales are down too. So I'm gonna jump down to my median price real quick. So median price, because we're only at the 15th, it's probably not too fair to you because there's only been, I don't know, maybe 10 or a dozen sales. I'm gonna go year to date because that's 45 days. So year to date, we're up 29% over last year. So we're,
Price or sales?
29.9.
Sales
The median
or
price,
median price,
median price is up
29%.
29.9, so let's just call it 30%.
Wow, I
Okay.
mean, that's
So year over year for year to date, we're up 30% on the price. And on condos, year to date over year to date last year, we're up 9%, just over 9%.
okay.
So actually for month over month, again, the numbers are really low. We're only halfway through the month where we show a 5% decrease on the condos. We show a 21% increase on the homes. So it's too short of a time frame. That's why I went to the year to date this early in the year. That
Okay.
gives us a 45 days. So jump over to number that are actually being sold, right? So we're tracking 30 homes being sold this year, and last year we sold 26 in February. So, and on condos last year we sold 26 and we're tracking 18 today. So condos are tracking slower, homes are tracking better.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder how that. Yeah, in fact, I have a couple friends with condos on the market, and they're just sitting there. And so, yeah, so it'd be interesting to reach into the psyche of the buyers and see what's going on here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I say you look at the two we came out with and they're gone right away. And it's kind of interesting because we've got another one that's been out there now for too long. And it's interesting because the one right next door to it for $400,000 more went into escrow right away. So it makes ours look like a bargain. You could do a lot of remodeling for 400 grand.
Yeah, definitely. Wow.
And they're the same view, same setup,
Yeah.
almost same,
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Ours will be a bargain next month when this one
There you
goes.
go. Don't forget to list that in our private Facebook group so people can like get that.
Yeah.
Okay, so to discuss what's really going on with the finances, maybe the psyche of the nation in terms of home buying, we've got Joe Egan, who is going to give us a little bit about what the heck is going on with the rates, the money, and the future.
Yes. So only if I knew, right? So this week has actually been a tough week for interest rates.
Oh,
On Tuesday, I actually turned 42 years old.
yay, happy
And it was my
birthday.
birthday, and it was a terrible day for interest rates on my birthday. I
Oh,
can't believe they did that. So
what happened?
so inflation numbers came out on Tuesday morning and they came in slightly higher than expected. It didn't miss, but it missed, but it didn't miss by a lot. But it had a real negative impact on the market. Interest rates, I think my last update, interest rates were down mid sixes for conventional loan, high fives, low sixes for a government FHA loan, right? Now, currently, as we sit today, interest rates on a conventional loan sit about 7.125%. So a slight little uptick just this week in interest rates. So I wish I had better news, right? Now, looking at the crystal ball, I think what happens with mortgage rates is when the Fed actually decreases their Fed funds rate, that's not a direct correlation to mortgage rates. But what happens is the market kind of anticipates that, right? So what the market was doing when rates were getting better is the market was anticipating the Fed to cut rates this year, which we all anticipate they will. But when rates were getting better, they were anticipating a Fed cut coming in March. Now, with inflation numbers coming in where they did on Tuesday, that pretty much took a cut right out the window in March, which I kind of expected. I think we touched on that on our last update. I don't anticipate the Fed's going to cut rates as soon as March, but I do anticipate probably June, July, then they'll start to cut the Fed funds rate. And usually in anticipation of that, leading typically about a month ahead of that, mortgage rates will start to anticipate that and get better, right? But in regards to my crystal ball, what I'm telling everybody is I just don't know.
You never know, right?
You never know.
all it
No, I
takes
mean,
is like
everybody
the
anticipated,
Yeah.
May 10th, 2023, everybody in the mortgage industry anticipated mortgage rates will start to decrease at that point, which they did not. Inflation started to decrease, and typically when that happens, mortgage rates do follow. However, they're going to be really cautious. I think it's really going to take something breaking, i.e. major unemployment along those lines, along with inflation decreasing, to make the Fed feel comfortable enough to say, okay, now we can ease back on rates because there's not all this cash in the market, right? Now, starting in 2024, there has been an uptick on mortgage applications of about 24%.
Oh.
So we are starting to see that activity start to come. The hard part is really that affordability piece, right? I tell people, you don't really make payments based upon an interest rate. Like, nobody tells me, Joe, I'm going to go make my 6.5% interest mortgage payment. They say I'm going to make my $2,000 a month mortgage payment, right? So affordability, that's really the biggest thing. But I think mortgage rates are going to take a little bit longer to decrease than what people expected.
No. Does that mean I'm not going to Italy this year?
Now, I mean, you may just at the end of the year. So plan a trip around Christmas.
That's fantastic. You know, Joe,
Mhm.
you're either the cheerleader on this group thing or you're like the downer dude. And well, and again, though, tell them also that the average interest rate across the span of when they started giving out mortgages is around 7%, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the hard part is, as consumers, we're really short-sighted, right?
Yeah.
We compare things over the last couple of years. Even when you listen to your housing updates, I like to keep the stats, because time on market and list to sale price,
Mhm.
I would love to see what was pre-COVID, right? Because we can't really compare real estate to the COVID times, I call them, right? Interest rates were just ridiculously low. We'll never see 2s and 3s, barring something happening, right? And I'm never going to say never, right? But, you know, what we do is we just compare it over the short period of time instead of looking at the big history. The hard part, though, the average interest rate is 7%, but when people paid more, the housing prices were also less.
Mhm.
Now, hopefully wages increase to compensate for that, but I don't think that's caught up yet.
Mm. Well, I don't know. Okay, this is what economics Julie style looks like. I'm not getting as many phone calls and emails as I used to for houses in West Hawaii that were over $700,000 or $800,000. I'm getting a lot of people saying, I can't wait to move to Hawaii and I've got $500,000. And you're like, oh, that doesn't match up with what the housing prices are. But if consistently people don't want to pay $1.3 million for a house, then the prices have to come down. If people can't get mortgages for what they need to be able to actually make those payments. And again, I don't know how much cash is left still on the market, but there's people who obviously, I think there's more people getting mortgages now than there were when everyone's throwing cash at houses. There's an economic thing that if people can't afford this and they have to start doing this, the people at this have to lower their price to that to compete. Am I correct in this one?
You are, yeah. And that's why I don't think 7% interest rates for a longer period of time is such a bad thing, because I think we do have this pent up frustration of home buyers sitting on the sideline, right? And if the Fed cuts the rates too quickly, then we're going to have an influx and home prices are just going to skyrocket again.
Mhm.
So I don't view interest rates higher for a longer period of time as a negative thing. I think for the market and a correction, the hard part is, again, looking at short-sighted real estate. Home prices in Hawaii have appreciated over the last couple of years significantly, right? Historically, they don't appreciate that much. If they do, then we should all hang up and keep buying real estate, right? Because if I can earn
50%.
30%, yeah, 30 to 50% year over year, there's nowhere where I can put my money to earn that, right? So there needs to be that correction. Real estate appreciates typically about 4 to 6% year over year. And I think the decreasing in prices is just aligning towards that, not necessarily a major crash, but more a market correction.
Yeah, right. And I do think I was having this conversation with Lance today that I think sellers are still thinking it's 2022. And they can stick a, a sign out in the yard and they're going to get, everybody and their dog paying whatever they ask for it. And I think that is happening sometimes, like Lance was pointing out, says it's happening to some people. They're 5 days on the market experience. But for some of these houses that maybe that are not top shape, I do think that they might be sitting on the market a little bit longer. And then sellers start saying, how bad do I need to sell? Because I heard a lot today in the real estate meeting that we had today. A lot of people use the word motivated seller. So that's keyword, guys, for let's make an offer that might be a little below the value of what's being put out there. So, well, thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
So let's have a discussion around this. I brought Eric Ziemelis in to have discussions about trends and what he thinks about the world. And also I know Lance, you were waiting for what he was going to say. And Jana, with your high end stuff still flying off the market, I always believe that people who have money always have money. It doesn't matter what the interest rates have. But what do you guys think? Is it something that you guys think is going to affect the price of houses in Hawaii? Yep.
It does seem like there's still a lot of cash out there, though. I think that's the problem why things are so pricey. I mean, whether they need a loan or don't need a loan, there's still people, those boomers and whoever else still has a lot of cash rolling around there. And that's why we're looking at those $2 million properties and people aren't flinching at them.
Mm-hmm.
I think a big thing too is that it's a supply and demand thing. So we still don't have the supply. We're still 30% short of what we should have at least. And until that corrects, and there's no new homes being built, there's no new condos or nothing of significance. You've got the elite cottages, which are putting out a couple a month, I think. So nothing that will change adding another 60 homes a month on the market. So I think that's going to be our biggest thing. And one of the things Lawrence Yun said, and it's been a few months ago now, but he said, a year and a half ago, he told everybody that people are their couples love their mortgage. They may hate each other, but they love their mortgage. So they're moving to separate ends of the houses and things like that. So, but now it's a year and a half later and they're over it. And they're like, okay, it's time. The rates aren't changing. Things aren't going anywhere fast. We've got to sell this house and move on. So they're going to sell one house and buy 2 houses. So it's even though we're putting that one on the market, they're going to be buying 2 more. So it's going to be interesting. I just don't see the supply changing enough to make a big mark on the price. But like Joe said, affordability is a big thing that we got to watch out for.
Yeah. Jana, what do you say? You've got people trying to save money in Waikoloa Village and people looking for investment property over or down in the resorts.
That's true. Most of the time in the resorts, these people will like to have maybe their snowbirds who want to rent it out when they're not coming down, which I'm sure Joe will tell us is even a little bit higher interest rate for those types of properties, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And same thing that Lance said is happening in Waikoloa Village. We're not having enough new construction to make up that shortfall. I think we've got 3 right now that are in construction that are active on the MLS, the ones that are on Kila. And there is a development in the works, but it seems like that takes a really long time to get those going. So same thing as Lance, I've got one in escrow right now that's a cash buyer. I've got one that's not. So, that's pretty valuable right now if you get an offer as a listing agent with a cash buyer, because it takes off those contingencies, and it's just everybody likes that better, right? If you can.
Yeah. And also I don't know if I didn't know this until I got into real estate and started selling houses, that with a cash buyer, you can move the escrow faster. So you can close within 30 days instead of waiting for 45 days.
Right.
Which means you get to have your life a little faster. You get to close everything. So nothing really strange happens. You can get in, get out. Where sometimes when you have the mortgage, it does go to the full 45 days just because everyone has to do all the paperwork and stuff. So yeah. So if you're trying to move things a little faster, I can see why that would be the case. And then Lance, in terms of the houses that are selling in Kona, let's just use the new housing down in Alihi Cottages. How fast are these moving? They're $1.3 million for this new construction. Are people looking for?
And that's what really surprises me. They're not selling as fast as you would expect them to sell. Because you look at that, and I don't want to call out any subdivisions, but you look at subdivisions that are 20 years old, the homes weren't built to today's quality. They're selling at that same price point. And it really surprises me, with the central air and the higher end finishes and the things that are happening in this place. I'm really, really, really surprised that they aren't just flying off the shelf. I've tried to figure it out. The best thing that the best opinion I can give on that is that they are not, people don't want to buy something that's not finished yet. They want to see what it's going to be like, I think.
Yeah, see what the whole neighborhood looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always a big thing. I know, we had some clients and it looks, when there's no landscaping, when there's no anything going on, and all of a sudden the homes look like they're in a hole, or they look like they're sitting too high, or the neighbors are looking in. You get some shrubbery going on and some fencing and things like that, and all of a sudden that's not an issue. So that could be a big part of the problem too. Yeah, remember, in the last 20 years, we've had very little new construction for subdivision.
Yeah.
Lokahi, Mackay, and Kulani Estate.
Well, the good news about that thing is if you walk into one of those model homes, it looks beautiful. You're right, all high-end stuff. They did a great job with it. But on the other side, you're still in Ali'i, so you're still near the heat of down near the water, and you're not really getting much of a view. So when
And isn't the lot size pretty small too on those?
Lot size is small, but for a lot of people, that's kind of a plus for the type of buyer that I would think is buying there.
They don't want to work with the land. Yeah.
Yeah. And we all know what landscaping costs here a month. It's ridiculous. That's
right.
That's a
yeah. If you got 6 plants, I guess it's not that bad.
Yeah, 6 plants, is that what you said?
You
got
got
a hedge, you got a little lawn.
That's all.
Yeah.
You got a 10-foot lawn and 6 plants, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. And I was just like, guys, I was just out of Seattle and Portland and talking to some people there, and they said, the best days about bringing the cold weather in and having like nothing growing for like 4 or 5 months is they can go away and not have to worry about their landscaping. Where when you come to Hawaii, there's 365. You go on vacation, you come back, you're going to have a jungle. So yes, having an opportunity to have a brand new house and not be dealing with landscaping is a valuable benefit. So yeah. So, okay. And then Jana, in terms of like up in the village, because we also have somebody else trying to get up there. Are the prices in condos, like, I know you're talking about, but in terms of like Ali Milani, let's say that's your average schmo kind of condo complex, like, are those going for like 400 still now? I mean,
So there's a Ali Milani for 445, 479. That's it. There's a Fairway Terrace. It's a 2-bedroom for 429. That's the least expensive condo in Waikoloa Village. It's a 2-bedroom, 785 square feet. And then the Ali Milani is 854. They're all 854.
854 square feet.
Right.
Yeah,
and they're like 429, 445, 469. So they're all like under 500,000. Then if you want to move up to the next, there's Makana Kai, which are the ones that are, as you're going up Waikoloa Hill, they're on the left-hand side, kind of before you get to the village. And there's 3 of those, 515, 569, and 578. Those are all 2-bedrooms. So, you've got different tiers in Waikoloa Village, but yeah, you can get a Fairway Terrace for 429.
There you go. I got you can smile. Like to Joe's point, when we lived in Waikoloa Village, those houses were $250,000, and that wasn't that long ago. I should have gotten one.
These really fixed up though.
Yeah. Well, the whole value of everything, and then also now you've got the shopping center up in Waikoloa Village. It's turned into a cute little community. So, okay. So, Desi, if you actually, we have one of our buyers actually in our Zoom call today. If Desi has any questions, or you can put it in there if you come on screen. But we have a couple people, just so you guys know what we have been getting in terms of some people asking about what they can do. There's the usual round of people asking what can they buy, where they can buy an acre of land and put up 10 tiny houses and build a commune. Ain't happening. Zoning laws were not going to be part of that. It's just not going to happen. I got a guy, he says, I got $17,000. You know what? You can actually buy a piece of land for $17,000. And I go, where are you getting that from? He's like, oh, it's in Leilani Estates, in the back of it completely abuts up to the 2018 lava flow. That's what's available. And you have to scrub the land. But we also are getting people who are saying, you know what? I've got $1 million, like my 2 people. I'm just looking for the right house. And I think that sometimes people who are trying to buy are trying to say, I just want to see what's coming up the market, like, like going to like, Ross every Thursday and see what's kind of on the shelves. And so they're just going to keep waiting because as Lance says, we just don't have a lot of inventory. So, there's that level of like, this is all we've got and how much do you guys want to wait until something perfect shows up? Right. So, yeah. And
That's it. Yeah.
Eric, in terms of anything else you've been seeing, I know that we've gotten a few people coming in through the Ohana, our 365 Ohana.
We have seen there does definitely seem to be an uptick of people that are thinking about moving here in the spring. That's what I would definitely see. We've got a lot of people, spring and summer. They're all planning their exodus to here in Hawaii there, and prices vary, but that's what everybody seems to be getting excited about going. But the fact, Joe, that they must be thinking about interest rates because they're getting ready to talk. They're already talking about it versus 2 months ago, nobody talked about it at all. So now they're thinking we're 6 months out. We're going to go make this happen.
Yeah. So I hope the Fed actually lowers the interest rates in June. I think that's going to have a big impact on the industry. It's too bad that, we have more jobs in America. Even, it's all the thing. Oh, and Eric, asked Joe, Eric heard something about how the commercial buildings were kind of like not doing so well and the banks were taking a hit on foreclosure.
Okay. So I heard a theory on why interest rates might lower faster than anticipated. And maybe you heard this theory or not, Joe, but what happened is that if the commercial real estate is really going downhill quickly, right? That they're resetting and all these people, and a lot of them are just giving up and they're giving the keys to the bank, just like the big foreclosures so the banks are getting these commercial properties, and some of these smaller banks aren't equipped to be able to withstand this kind of, these things. So they're on the verge of going bankrupt. And the Fed hates when the banks go under. So the idea is that if they lower the interest rates, then it'll prop the banks up to get them going. So that was kind of it's a theory. And have you heard about this or any thoughts on it?
I've heard a lot about it. Yes, that's kind of the big topic right now. It just kind of depends on what banks do, right? I think we saw last year a lot of the banks, the smaller banks, go under. I think there were like 3 or 4 that happened over a short period of time that did help interest rates a little bit. Now, if we start to see more and maybe get a bigger player into that, then typically the Fed will step in and cut rates quicker. So I do think there's some merit to that. The hard part is commercial real estate doesn't usually go quickly, right? So if you're starting to see kind of a downward trend in commercial real estate, it's not something that's going to happen in the next month or two. Usually there's a much longer evolution period to commercial real estate to have an impact on the market.
Okay.
So you're saying it could be a year from now is what you're saying.
Yeah.
What was interesting, and I went to the commercial real estate economic outlook over in Honolulu a few weeks ago. And one of the things that I guess I got educated on was they've done some conversions of some of the big office buildings to residential places over in Honolulu. And so
I'm
they
hearing
said
hotels too.
Yeah.
Converting hotels to multifamily units.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. What was interesting is they said, let's say you've got a commercial space that maybe has 50% vacancy, right? And they got to do something with it. So they're going to convert it into homes. So it just took 100% of those units off of the market, and it's no longer considered in commercial space. And it took the 50% that were there and had them fill spots that were vacant in other areas. So it may look better than it really is because that entire building was taken out of the inventory. Right. So it's even though the economic numbers look good, they may not be as good as they are. But with those conversions and with what's happening and the lack of availability and the lack of any new high rises or anything being built in Honolulu, that they think that will carry it through. It'll be stable here. It'll be different than it is on the mainland because we just don't have anybody building.
There we go. Well, I've heard some of our wonderful malls or shopping centers are not so financially healthy right now either. So I think it's happening across the country right now, especially as more and more brick and mortars just go online, or some people don't want to go back to work and there's open commercial space. So we'll watch that. But you're saying it's not going to happen like right away. So we'll keep an eye on how that affects the market. Okay, so we're 45 in. So is there anything else that have you guys seen anything you want to like trends or any weird outliers that you guys want to discuss that we can keep an eye on? No. Okay. And also, just so you guys know, we did sit down with the chair of the Government Affairs Committee for the West Hawaii Association of Realtors this afternoon. And she talked about the transient accommodation rental bill. And it's going to have an impact on people who are thinking about buying houses here and using their houses for short-term vacation rentals. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to release that on YouTube very shortly. And when Lance meets with me on March 6th or 7th, March 7th. We're going to be discussing that a little bit more with the information that we now know from talking to Jennifer. And then also we'll be talking to Amber about how that's going to affect East Hawaii as well. So jump in on that one. And we
I'd say just put a question in there too, real quick. And just to kind of answer that question is like we were just talking about those elite cottages being priced at around 1.2 million versus the 20-year-old ones that are priced at the same that are smaller. So I think right now for the few being built, the price is well. I think that it's for a brand new home versus 120 years old, and 20 years you're hitting close to the roof life, and things like that. So and design obsolescence with some of the, with cabinets and everything else, time to replace a lot of things. So I think that the new built homes are priced better than what we see in the market.
Okay, thank you. And then is there anything else you need? How did the prices of new homes compare to developers? Okay, that's good. Okay. Yeah, and also when, like you said, it's gonna be a gem when it's done. And if you've gotten yourself in before everyone sees the gem, sometimes that can actually give you an opportunity as well. So yeah. And
I remember that in the Pualani Estates days, everybody that was just this big eyesore on the hill that was nothing but graded lots and dirt. And now, people line up to get in there.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, well then I want to thank all of you guys for being part of this experience today and making sure that the home buying public is informed. And again, if you guys will realize that Joe is an amazing mortgage broker, and he would be lovely to have you guys call him and ask him about getting you guys set up in mortgages for future purchases and strategizing. He's amazing. And then Jana, she's one of our favorite partners, and she loves selling houses up and down all over Waikoloa Resort, the 10 million, $40 million houses all the way up North Kona. And then Lance obviously is an amazing, he gives so much of his time to track these kinds of issues. And he's on this, working with the state as the, incoming president. So great resource if you need anything to do about housing. And he also sells houses here in West Hawaii. And then Eric and I love to sell houses in West Hawaii as well. And we also have a great referral network around the whole island. So you guys can't go wrong. Please, we're doing our best to make sure you guys, know all the information about what it's to buy a house and sell one here too. So with that, we will say aloha, and we'll see you guys next month, third Thursday of the month in March. So
thanks, you guys. Aloha.
Aloha.